Greetings, fellow gorehounds, and welcome back to a Blood Splattered vlog. I'm the Horror Guru.
And I'm Count Jackula.
And today we're going to talk about Send Help, the latest Sam Raimi thriller to grace our movie theaters. And this movie is a lot of fun. It's about a woman named Landa who's been working at this corporation for like 7-8 years, and her boss has recently died, and her boss's son has taken over the family business and is now denying her promotion that she's been promised for years from the former boss. This is a problem, but the problem gets exacerbated when she is invited on a corporate trip to prove herself to the new boss, and the plane crashes in the middle of the fucking ocean, and she ends up stranded on an island somewhere in the middle of fucking Thailand. She and her boss's son must survive in the wilderness that is this secluded island, all by their lonesome. She is obsessed with the show Survivor and has read every fucking book on how to survive in the wild, so she is way more prepared for this than her boss's son ever would be, and this leads to some tension.
For about the first 10 minutes, it doesn't really feel like a Sam Raimi movie until the plane crash starts.
Yeah, the plane crash is when it goes full Raimi.
Yeah.
And then it kind of subdues itself, and then the Raiminess starts to peek through more and more as the movie goes on until you're at the finale of the movie, and it's just full-on Raimi.
Yeah, and for those of you who don't know what full-on Raimi means, it means blood is funny!
Blood is funny. He has very particular types of camera angles and camera lenses he likes to use. It's very in your face. If you grew up in the 90s and you watched any sort of children's media in the 90s, like on Nickelodeon, where they would often have fisheye lenses and quirky camera tilts and stuff like that, they got that shit from Sam Raimi. He is the master at that kind of shit. And he goes buck wild in this movie. But for the first half of this movie, before it kind of turns into a thriller, it feels more like Sam Raimi making a 90s romantic comedy. And he does such a good job of it, I actually forgot that it was supposed to be a thriller, because it's got initially that almost romancing the stone, they hate each other, but there's a romantic tension there thing going on. No, trust me, this is a Sam Raimi movie through and through. This is a Sam Raimi movie in the sense that, say, Drag Me to Hell is a Sam Raimi movie, just without the supernatural elements, which is hard to imagine, but once you see it, it will make sense in the movie. So yeah, I loved Send Help. I thought this movie was a blast. I thought that the twists and turns were legitimately good, because multiple points in this movie, I was just okay, so the movie's going in this direction. Oh no, it's now going in this direction. Yeah. And it happens not just once, but 3 or 4 times over the course of this movie. And the movie completely delivers once you get to that third act, and everything just goes buck wild and insane.
Yeah.
So how'd you feel about Send Help, man?
I felt about the same way. It's a very interesting film for Sam Raimi, because it's not like one of his normal crowd pleaser films.
No, this feels like Sam Raimi deliberately making a cult film. It's hard to describe, but there's something about this movie that doesn't feel like a mass audience movie. It feels like a movie that's made for a very particular niche audience.
Yes. Sam Raimi is not selling out.
No.
You could definitely say that.
No, you could argue he already did that when he made a bunch of superhero movies. But this movie is just old school Sam Raimi. But with some modern touches, because he has modern technology now. You know? There are times where you could obviously see a CGI green screen, especially during the plane crash sequence and stuff like that. Stuff he wouldn't have had access to back when he was making the Evil Dead movies. But he has the new tools now, and he uses the new tools to do all the old tricks. It reminds me a lot of Drag Me to Hell in that way, where Drag Me to Hell has that old school Sam Raimi energy.
Yes.
But with modern technology. The movie does get bloody, not nearly as bloody as any of the Evil Dead movies, but there is some blood spilt. In fact, there's more blood spilt in this than Drag Me to Hell, by virtue of the fact that this is actually a rated R movie.
Well, just the fucking stuff that happens during the plane crash.
Yes!
Is fucking ridiculous.
That alone is pretty gnarly. And then some of the survival stuff. There's a scene with a fucking hog, one of my favorite scenes in this movie. And what I love about it is the scene almost doesn't need to be in the movie. It's just there for Raimi to indulge in the messiness.
Yes. Just for him to spray blood on people.
Yes.
You know?
It's Sam Raimi jacking off in your face during some of these scenes, and that's what that scene felt like. And I'm sitting there like, yes, Daddy, just fucking jizz all over me, Raimi. Clip that, my friends. Anyway, my fellow Gorehounds, sent help. I thoroughly enjoyed this movie. If you love Sam Raimi, if you love secluded island thrillers, which there are a few of those, it's got that going on. And with that said, my fellow Gorehounds, let us move on to the spoilers, so we can talk about this last act that we've been kind of trying not to spoil too much. So here we go. It's revealed towards the end of this movie, she's been aware that there's actually like a mansion on this island owned by a rich person full of resources and tools to leave the island, like boats and like radios, that she has completely decided to ignore because she ultimately wants to teach him a lesson. Because at the beginning of this movie, he is a complete piece of shit.
Complete douchebag.
The kind of boss that kind of smiles in your face and then once he walks away is like, fire that person.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, a guy who's like auditioning for a new secretary right before his fiance walks in.
And right before she walks in, he was about to ask that secretary to do something sexual. It was very obvious.
Real obvious.
It was very obvious that he was about to do like the ultimatum, like, what are you willing to do to work here?
Yeah.
So he is a complete scumbag. And that does not change as this movie goes on.
Every time it looks like he's going to come around, it turns out he's got a scheme going.
Yeah, he's got something going on. There's even a point in which he like full on goes all in on the we're falling in love. There's romantic tension here. This is romancing the stone. We're living romancing the stone. And then he decides, no, fuck you. I'm poisoning you and I'm taking this boat that I built and trying to escape into the water.
Yeah.
But I don't know how to fucking tie knots well, so the fucking boat falls apart. Now, in his defense, and I do not want to give him too much defense because he is a garbage fucking person who deserves everything he gets in this movie, she has been fucking with him the entire movie.
Yeah.
She has decided to not tell him about the boat she saw. She has decided to not tell him about the mansion that she saw. And there is a point later on in this movie where she fully crosses the Rubicon, if it were.
Yeah.
Where she kills his fiance when she shows up, as well as the ferryman that brought her to the island to help search for him. She is a full-on murderer by the end of this movie. The end of this movie kind of goes almost death becomes her. The two of them are just trying to murder each other, and they're brutalizing each other. Like, he like pops out her eye at one point, and she like bites off one of his fingers. And it just keeps escalating and escalating. But unlike Death Becomes Her, they're not like supernaturally powered. So
yeah, they're just normal people.
They're just normal people fucking each other up. But what I really love about the ending of this movie is that everything that was set up at the beginning of the movie like comes back at the end. Right down to you don't golf. And because you don't golf, you know, you're not going to succeed up here.
Right.
You know, and then like her taking the golf club and smashing his head in at the end. The movie has a very good for her ending. And I got to say, despite all the things she does in this movie that's absolutely terrible, I was on her side to the very end. But to be clear, she is not a good person. She killed that ferryman.
Yeah, she killed that poor dude.
Like, that dude did nothing. Like, if it was just the boss's son and the boss's son's fiance, that would have been one thing, you know, because they were both rich pieces of garbage. But that poor ferryman, that was crossing the line.
Yeah. That was too far.
But when it comes to everything she does to, I think his name is Bradley or something like that.
Something like that, yeah.
He deserves everything he got, as far as I'm concerned in this movie. He was such a piece of shit at the beginning, and then continued to be a piece of shit. And even though you, the audience, know some things that he doesn't know in some of those scenes earlier on, like when she's fucking with him, it's still shocking how much he refuses to learn. Like, he continues to look down on her as she continues to save his life and feed him and nurse him back to health, and like continues to be right about everything she says. And he refuses to acknowledge her, and he just keeps looking down at her until he absolutely has no choice but to just give in. And even when he gives in, he's still scheming to fuck her over. He is garbage. He gets everything he deserves in this movie. eat the rich.
Yeah.
That's the one thing. I kind of wish at one point she
It got cannibalistic.
Yes. That is my one criticism of the movie.
I was kind of wondering if it was going to go in that direction.
I do wish it had, by the end of the movie, her eating him.
Yeah.
That would have been amazing. That's Send Help. Do you have any final thoughts?
No. Good times all around. It's a good movie. If you like it, check it out.
And with that said, my fellow Gorehounds, where can they find you, Count Jackula?
Well, you can find me here on YouTube, where I stream pretty much every weekday around 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Or you can catch up on my latest project, which is a tabletop RPG called Babylon City of Monsters, where you can play a monster that has to fight angels of spite and hatred. If you want to find out more about that, check out BabylonGameStudio.com.
Y'all know me, I'm the Horror Guru. You can find me on various social media platforms, but these days, I primarily use Blue Sky, so follow me on there. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and don't forget to ring that notification bell so you're notified of my videos immediately upon their upload. And if you'd like to help out either of us more directly, be sure to check out our Patreon pages, and remember, if you decide to go the Patreon route, even $1 a month can go a long way, but we will certainly accept more. And with that said, my fellow Gorehounds, if you made it this far into the video, then I want you to comment below, and be sure to comment below using the hashtag Raimi's back. Use the hashtag Raimi's back. That way I know. That way Jack knows. That way the rest of the world knows that the king has returned. And hail to the king, baby.